The reality of selling on Etsy. It's so tempting to be inspired by social media, to try and quit the rat race and become a self-employed artist. To have a simpler life surrounded by creativity and beautifulness. But what many people don't realise is the full reality. Social media influencers and Etsy themselves show only part of the truth. The average, the ordinary, just isn't share-worthy to most people. Viewers want either the beautiful, the fantastic, or the terrible. And what people share and watch shapes what creators create. They're not going to create something for you talking about the normalness. If that doesn't get views, that doesn't get shared, that doesn't get out there. So most oftenly, average sellers, average creators, average tips don't get shared, don't get explained, don't get seen. And the two ends of the extreme start to feel like the normal. You either have people making massive amounts of money and having the great life, or the terrible of people being kicked out of Etsy, having horrible customers, the worst things. You don't have the normal. You see the spectacular interviews with the shops in the top 1% of sellers. You don't see the other 99% of sellers. You don't see the people that don't have that level of success, or who even quit because they were expecting that level of success and didn't get it. In fact, even if normal average sellers put their head above the parapet and try and share tips and tricks, they often get horrible comments from people asking what their experience is and how dare they share their tips. Thankfully, most of you have been lovely to me, but it does happen. But this makes it harder for normal people to share what's normal. And some of these things that we just don't see. The years that people have put into learning. Most successes, the people haven't just picked up this art. They've been doing it for years, even decades before they get successful. The failures, the different things that people have tried before they find the thing that works. And also you don't see the length of time ago that they succeeded. Bear in mind that SEO changes with time. So what someone did 5 years ago to build a successful shop, their tips and advice might not be as relevant right now. And to be honest, once you build your shop, it's easier to keep it going. Motivation is another thing that is often totally overlooked in becoming an online full-time artist. Images of people bouncing out of bed with a wonderful smile on their face, going to that wonderful studio space with the sun streaming in the windows and creating beautiful things. That's just not the reality. The camera lies. Most people don't have a perfect space, and all the time motivation, procrastination and creator burnout are totally a thing. We want to think that we'll always be feeling it when we get up to make our creations. But one of those biggest differences between a hobby artist and a career artist is the motivation. This is now your job. You need discipline. You need discipline to create when motivation isn't there. You need discipline to set hours and set schedules for how you're going to work. Steven Spielberg doesn't get to just create films when he's feeling creative. He has thousands of people relying on him for their work. He has to be able to create even when he's having bad days or bad weeks. Hugh Jackman does not get to wait till he's feeling it. He has to turn it on and be the showman, whether he's feeling cold, ill, or just not it. Of course, you have to look after yourself and know when to take breaks. But being a full-time self-employed person is a full-time job. It's probably more than a full-time job, and you have to be ready to work when you're not feeling that inspired. And while we're on that subject, regular work hours. No matter how you planned for regular time off, wonderful holidays, time with your family, this is not as likely to be the case as you think. Your actual creating an item is actually a small part of your time in being a self-employed business. There is always something else to be doing. Photography, listing, keyword research, stock taking, tax returns, learning, shipping, and dealing with customers. Because you are going to think you have a Saturday off, you're going to be in the bus to meet your friends, and your phone will ping and someone's raised a case against you that you have to deal with right now. True story. All of these things are massive time sucks, and you can find yourself working months in a row forgetting to take a day off. And don't forget the emotional toil of putting your heart and soul into an item for a customer not to like it, be rude, or leave negative reviews. Your computer crashing at the wrong time, or your suppliers closing down out of the blue. And the money worries are a thing. No matter how much you plan, no matter how much time you set aside and have the budget ready to cover with that, it's almost always going to take longer than you think to set up to be successful. And there are always likely to be unexpected costs. The term starving artist actually exists for a reason. Honestly though, in some respects, I'm not sure that it's not needed as some level of motivation. I'm not sure that I would have put all this time and work into growing my own business if I didn't need to. This kind of keeps the hobbyers away as they don't realise just how hard work it is. Yeah, it can be a motivation as well, although it's a very stressful one. And the isolation. No one in your family and friends really understands what you're doing. And you might feel they don't support you. They don't see what you're doing as work. They think it's all wonderful and easy and you're spending 10 minutes creating a piece of art and then sitting on the beach for the rest of the day. And they might expect you to make things for free or at ridiculously cheap rates. But we can't expect them to understand. If we didn't know what it was like before we get started, how can we blame them for not knowing what it's like? How can we blame their expectations for being unrealistic? Don't get mad, just smile when they say they're jealous of your easy life, when they're jetting off for their next holiday in the sun and you're wondering how you're going to pay your bills. Just say no if they ask you to work for free for them. And find a creative community with other people who understand what you're going through. Like Pam Duthie's Crafty Friends on Facebook, a place where you can talk to other people in the same boat as you. Now, I don't want you to think that being an artist is all bad. It certainly is not. It can be that great life, but it doesn't come easy. If it did, everyone would do it. But the reality isn't all floating around in caftans having lazy days. It is work, and to get that big reward back at the end of it, you need to put in the big amount of work, sadly. Hope that helps. See you next time.